Hi, this is Jimmy from The Productive Engineer, and this on my screen is my dashboard in Notion. And today I'm going to show you how to build a dashboard just like this in this video. I'm actually going to recreate this dashboard that you see in front of you step by step. It includes widgets, it includes a bunch of different linked databases, and I use it to track basically my YouTube channel. So stay tuned. Now, before we get started, if you like this video, please click the like button. It really does tell YouTube that this video is worth watching and encourages YouTube to promote more of my videos, and it really helps me out. If you want to see more of my videos, hit the subscribe button. I make videos on Notion all the time. I also make videos on Evernote, Google Docs, Rome Research, which I have some videos coming up on, Obsidian Notes. Pretty much name the productivity app. I either have a video or I have a video coming on it. And lastly, if you want to be notified when I release a new video, please click that bell. Thanks. Okay, so let's get started. So this is my dashboard. I use this to run my YouTube business, and this is what keeps me in line in terms of making videos. Now, I don't always use it as much as I should, as I think what anybody would tell you with a productivity system. You have your sort of when you're really on point and you're really making things happen, and then you have those lazy moments when you're playing Call of Duty Warzone and FIFA 21. I'm definitely not admitting this on for myself, and all of a sudden you've gone a month without publishing a video and you wonder why. So this is what I've created to help keep me on track. It's doing a pretty good job, and I'm going to show you what it's constructed of. I have a banner image here for my page. I have a Walt Disney quote. The way to get started is to quit talking and to begin doing. And that's a little corny, but it kind of drives the point is about doing and getting things done. I have two different widgets here from Indifify. I probably mispronounced that, but that's the website where I got these widgets from. And I'm going to show you how to get those and put those in. I have obviously a clock widget and a weather widget. And then I come down here, I have two pages, which you probably don't notice at first glance. I have a recording schedule page and a editing schedule page. So I'm going to click on each of those real quick just to show you what they look like. So when I click it here, I don't know why it changed. Well, that's weird. It actually literally changed from dark mode to light mode. Very weird. Okay, but this is I have a calendar view of that. I also have a timeline view that you can do. And of course the traditional table view, which I'll leave it in for now. Go back. And I did the same thing for my editing schedule. So I click on that one. Is in editing schedule mode. This is actually bothering me, this light mode, so I'm going to go into dark mode here. So let's just do this. Setting appearance. Dark. Alright, so there we go. Much better. So dark mode, I think it looks better dark mode, plus it's easier on my eyes when I'm working on it. So let's go back to the dashboard, and then it takes a second for the widgets to populate through. Then I have multiple columns. I have two columns here, as you can see. And then if you come down here, I have a today's tasks, which is all the tasks that are assigned today. They're not completed, and I'll show you how to build that table. And that's pulling from a master database that I have. Actually, over here, I'll do it real quick. A central task database that I have. And this is the master database. I can move this over a little bit. I have a whole bunch of fields that don't get shown up here, but this is basically any task that I have to do, I put it into this task database, and then I use my dashboard and the views to create custom views of that data depending on what I want to see. So the recording schedule, the editing schedule, today's task, and the next 7 days, which is everything that's not due today but is due like tomorrow and the next 6 days beyond that. Get caught up in here. And I have priority tags, which you can see I'm sort of a little lazy in assigning, and I have different categories here. I'm going to show you, I'm not going to recreate the database, but I'm going to recreate the views, and I'm going to show you how I do that. And I know that there are dashboards out there by other people that are way more fancy and have custom fonts and tons of widgets and all sorts of stuff. I played around with that for a while, but the reason why I settled, at least for now, on this sort of relatively simple one that's built around tasks is because, well, my YouTube channel, that's what I'm doing. I'm either writing a script for a video, I'm either recording it, editing it, or working in YouTube Studio to make, tweak it and publish it. So there's not a whole lot. So those have certain tasks assigned to them, and this allows me to really sort of focus on the task rather than the sort of the fidgetiness of a dashboard. The more stuff you put on a dashboard, I think it's like sort of a reverse scale of how much you use it. I think if you have a simple dashboard that just tells you exactly what you need to know, that is focused on the task that you have to get done, I think that That's a good dashboard, at least for me. Whereas ones that have lots of little bells and whistles on it, I think there's a lot of noise and you lose the signal from the noise. So at least for me, this works for me, and I'm going to show you how to build it. So let me just pull it up in a sec. Okay, so what I've done here, while I went off screen for a second, and what I did, and I'm going to adjust this a little bit so it's a little more evenly balanced. You can see a little more. I'm going to let this draw, and I'm going to hide that. And I'm going to hide this for now, just to give me a little more real estate. So you can see here on the left is the finished product of the dashboard, and here's where we're going to build the dashboard. So the first thing I'm going to do here, I built a new page just for the dashboard. I'm going to add a cover. So I'm going to hit the add cover button here, and then it gives you, of course, these sort of artistic murals. And I'm going to change that because I want something that says dashboard. So I have a paid account I pay for an account. Let me rephrase that. I pay for Notion Personal Pro Plan. Part of that, you get access to Unsplash images, and then I'm going to type in dashboard. I'm going to learn how to type and then type in dashboard. And you can see that's the same image is there. I'm going to take it, click on it. Okay, and there it is. Now I'm going to hover back over it. You can notice it's a little, actually it's pretty close. I'm going to hit reposition. I'm just going to click and drag it slightly down just so it roughly matches what I had before. Actually, I don't know why it isn't matching before, but I'm going to put it like that. It's fine. And there it is. I have an icon, and I'm going to click on that. I'm going to click on maybe graph. And I see I have the graph icon, and you can see that that's how I added that. Then I come down in here, and to do a quote, you just type slash quotes. Capture a quote. Actually, you know what? I missed something. I'm off to a great start. First, I'll have to do a divider. If you notice over here, I have a divider here above the quote and below the quote. So I'm going to do a divider. Then I'm going to come underneath here. Then I'm going to do my quote. And then I'll do the quote that. I'll make that red. And make this green. And then I'll come down here, do another div. And so far so good. We're off to the races. So the next thing we need to do is put in some columns. So I'm going to do an embed here real quick. And this is the reason why I did embed, because that's how you embed any sort of content, web content that you want to put in. There's some preset ones, like Google Maps has a preset. There's one for CSVs. There's a couple others. What I'm going to do here, I just took the generic one, and then I'm going to come over to this website right here. I'm going to pull this in, and indify.co is the site you want to go to, and you can just do some widgets. And the ones I'm using here are, first I have the weather widget, so I'm going to click on that. And I put in my location, my preferred units, and the number of days, the default 7. And given the space I have, I think 7 is good. I can do dark mode. I can change it to light mode if I want. But if I come up here, I can do light mode. But I like dark mode. Actually, it's right here. So if I click this off, it'll turn it into light, so it's in light mode. But I am going to turn and click it back on. You can also do grayscale icons. Those look kind of cool. That's actually a pretty good effect. But you know what? I'm going to copy what I have, which is the blue. And I'll leave that in there. And when you do that, you make all your changes. You come down here, and there's a link. You want to copy that link, which is this little clipboard icon right here. You're going to click that. That's going to copy it to your clipboard. Now I'm going to pull this back over. I'm going to come back here to my embed link section, as you can see right here. I'm going to Command V or Control V Windows URL into this text box, and I'm going to click embed link, and that's going to give me this right here. As you can see, it's not really fitting. It's going to fit fitting the window here. Notice I have 2 columns, so we're going to fix that in a second. I'm going to come down here and do another embed, and that's going to bring me another window here. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back into my browser here. I'm going to drag this back. I'm going to click the back arrow right here to take me back to the main page. And then I'm going to get my clock widget. I'm going to click on that. It has its own settings here. So there's a couple of different options when you look at it. You have the digital solid is the one I like, and that's the one we're going to choose. But you have a couple others. You have digital roulette, which is like much like one of the slot machines. It has the three things. It's weird to me. Analog smooth, which is sort of old school looking, but very very minimalistic, but pretty cool. You have the planets, which has, you know, sort of this weird orbiting planet thing happening. And then you have numbers. But I'm going to go back to digital solid because that's the one I like. Again, I can do a 24-hour clock if I want by clicking that. It's going to redraw it as a 24-hour military time style clock. I can pick my time zone. I'm going to use my local time zone. So if you had a situation, this would be good. You can make multiple widgets here. If you wanted to, let's say you had a page where you wanted to track like 3 or 4 different time zones on one page. You want to be able to see what time it is, like in India or Japan or wherever. You can set up different time zones for that and have different widgets for each of them. And that would be sort of like a cool little, if that's something that you need on your dashboard or on a page, you can use that. You can show seconds. You can hide seconds if you just want the time itself. And then obviously you can toggle in dark mode. I'm going to leave dark mode here. You see it much like last time. I have a copy link here, a URL. I'm going to hit the copy. It's going to tell me I have it on my clipboard. Once I know it's on my clipboard, I'm going to come over here, come back to here, and I'm going to click paste. And click the embed link. And that's going to come here. Now, what next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to click, and I'm going to drag this to the edge. And that should now give me them side by side. The next thing I want to do, if you look at my links here, is I'm going to come down here and create a page for my recording schedule. So I type the slash to bring up the block menu, and then I type in page to list page as the top item. I click page, and I'm going to click on recording schedule here just so you can see what I have. So the first thing I'm going to do is give it a title. I'm going to call it recording schedule. Give it the cover, and of course it gives me another unique artistic cover. I'm going to change my color. I'm going to go to use splash, and I'm going to type in recording. And I'm going to see the first one there is the one I have on the other side, so I'm going to click on it. I'm going to click here. I'm going to reposition, and I'm just going to drag it to approximately matches. That looks pretty good. Let's see at that position. And now I'm going to give it an icon. I'm going to go with video. And pick my icon. And then I'm going to come down here and type the slash again. Type heading. Hit enter. Type in recording schedule. And then I'm just going to double click in here until I get it fully selected. Come over here to text color, drag down to, looks like I have red, because the red, the reason why I chose red is because of the red recording button. That just doesn't matter for the tutorial, it just popped in my head. And now I want to create my linked database, so I type in linked with a slash in front of it to bring up the linked database option. I click that. It's going to ask me for my which database I want. You can see over here I have central task list, so I'm going to type in central. It's going to bring up central task list. It's the number one option. I'll click that, and notice that it doesn't look the same at all. It has a ton of content which may or may not be related to my YouTube, or specifically my recording of the videos I want to make. So one of which is the dashboard video right here. So what do I do? Well, fortunately, Notion has filters, and you can filter your table based on a variety of criteria, and I'm going to do that right now. Now, if this linked database concept feels a little weird to you, I would highly recommend you watch my linked database video, which I'm going to link up above. It walks you through the absolute gory details of how to create and use and really get the value out of linked databases, because linked databases are like, think of them as God mode for tables in terms of your ability to find and create these very unique views into a database that only shows you the exact information you want and the exact properties or columns you want based on pretty much any kind of criteria that the table has. It's really cool, really powerful. check out the video if you have some time. But to continue with what we're doing here, I'm going to come over here to the ellipses. I said triple dots. The ellipses over here. And I'm going to click that, and I'm going to come down here to filter. And then I'm going to come over here to add a filter, and there's two options. Now, if you're not really familiar with filtering, it's okay. That linked database video covers that. You can get you there. But basically, there's two types. There's a basic filter and a filter group. A filter group allows you to combine multiple filters in one sort of grouping. That's the name, filter group. And that's what we're going to use. So we're going to click filter group. And the first thing I want to determine is that I only want items that are for recording. And what I did in my master table is I actually created a tag section. And you can see it's a property here when I click on it, where tags contains, and then I have a tag called recording, which you can see right here. So I'm going to select that, and that automatically does it. Now, if I click off here, you'll notice that I still have more entries here than over here. And that's because I have completed items and items that are not scheduled, don't have a due date. So I'm going to go back to my filter, and I'm going to click another filter. I'm going to add a filter to that. And here, this has a conditional and or. It defaults to or. And we're going to use the and, because I want to say what I'm looking for is tags that contain recording and. So I'm going to come over here, click it, and say and. I only want the things that are not complete. So I'm going to come over here, and fortunately I have a status option that I created for my table, and I can click over here and change from is to is not, and I can come over here and say completed. So I only want the things that are marked recording and are not complete. Once I click off there, you can see that my table's looking similar, but not the same. Notice I have more category things over here. Like here I have just task, due date, and priority, which is all I really need for a schedule. If I want to edit more of those things, I would just come over here and click the open as page and edit it. So over here, I don't need to see all this stuff like blog posts. This isn't blog posts, this is recording. So this doesn't even count. So I don't even need to see that. Comments, I don't need to see that on my recording schedule. If I want to see that, I can open the page and then view comments there. So I've already filtered. The next thing you can do is click the ellipses again and go down here to properties. And what properties are in Notion are basically the column heads. It's all the different attributes of your table and things that you track, all the columns that you have. So hit properties, and notice that everything is clicked here, and this is horrible. I don't want this. I don't want this. I can just turn it off. And you can actually see in the background here, things are turning off. So comments, if I click that, that disappears. I don't want date completed. I will leave due date in. I don't need category because I already know what it is. I'll leave priority in, and I'll turn off status. I'll turn off tags, turn off the script, and turn off the status bar. These are relations to other tables that I have. I have a table that contains all the scripts that I write for my videos. So I create a video script which has a bunch of information. It's basically that sits at a table. It has in each row of the table is a different script for a video. So there's a row in that YouTube script table that is a page that is purely just the script that I write for this video. So I don't need, and basically I could put that in this. If I put that in my task database, that way if I'm working on my tasks and I need to access that, I can just click on it. And it sort of relates the information. That's why it's called a relation. If you want more information on relations, and you want more information in general about Notion, if you feel like you're sort of getting bogged down in some of the terms I'm using, I have a beginner's guide to Notion. Again, I'm not trying to plug all my videos here, but the beginner's guide is really good. It's very in depth. It has timestamps in it, so you can just skip to the parts you want to get to. I'm going to link it up here. Check it out. But I turned it off. Now, you might say, well, given I have a filter and I'm filtering on status, shouldn't I leave that turned on? No, this doesn't take it away from the filter. All this is doing is determining whether you see it in this custom view. It's still using the logic of these things. Still exist. It's just hiding those columns. That's all this is doing here when you when you toggle on and off these properties. It's not taking them out of the table. Because remember, this is just a view of another database, in this case our central task list database. So I just toggle it off, we're good to go. So I'm going to leave that off. And now you notice it looks exactly the same. I'm going to go back to my dashboard, and I'm going to go back to my dashboard here. Okay, so now I can come over here in this column, type /page, click over here, and I'm going to click on the editing, so we can create our editing schedule. I actually like that. I really like the unsplash option for Notion. It just adds to the page so much. It makes the page look so much better than if it was just a wall of text. So I'm going to come in here, call it editing schedule. You might guess what I'm going to do next. I'm going to make my image. I'm going to come up here, add cover. Really, that's the color they picked. It wasn't loading art piece. See, I said it was going to load a random art piece. It loaded a blank color. That's just the Notion gods playing with me at this point. Okay, so I'm going to come in here, back to uplink, and this time I'm going to type in editing. I'm going to come over to the image I chose, and you can see it here. And once again, oops, not change color. I don't want the cover. I want reposition. I'm going to click and drag. And it looks like I did it. Dropped it about. That's about right. It's not close. It's perfect. Not perfect, but it's close enough. Next, I'm going to add my icon. I'll come over here. Let's choose MacBook. What's the laptop? And beak. Get my little MacBook up there. And next thing I'm going to do is create a heading. Put my fingers on the right keys and type in heading. Enter. I'm going to type in editing schedule. I'm going to select that. Come over here and change that color to yellow. Yellow actually looks really sharp. Don't you guys think the yellow looks really, like, it really pops off the dark mode? I really like. And then now I have to create my link database, which before I type it in, type in the comments if you know what I'm going to type in here. Type it in the command that you think I'm going to type. Okay. Now I'm going to type in /linked is the correct answer. And create link database. I'm going to click on that. And now I'm going to type in central, because that's the name of my database, and central task list. Once again, you're going to notice a couple of things here. One, this is a table, this is a calendar view. So the first thing I can do is here, I can go over here to this add a view button, click on that, and I'm going to type in calendar. I'm going to give it the name calendar because I'm so creative, and I'm going to assign it the calendar option and hit create. And this is going to change it into a calendar, just like the one over here. But notice this one only has 3 options, so I only have 3 to-dos right now that are for editing video, whereas this has every to-do I have for the month. Now, no way no. So what we're going to do here is I'm going to come up here, and do you know what we're going to do? Filter, that's right. So we're going to hit the ellipses, we're going to go to filter. Once again, I'm going to use a filter group by clicking the add a filter group. And you might guess how I'm going to kind of do this. The first thing I'm going to filter on is if the tag contains editing. I have an editing tag. I always hit recording myself. That would have messed it up. I have an editing tag for every task that is an editing item that's an editing. So I click that, and that right away, if I come over here, I have a handful of editing ones, but notice I have more over here than over here. So what I'm going to do, because the reason why is a couple of these videos were already edited, specifically the 2 ones on the 20th. Those were my last 2 videos I released. You should watch them. The one's on Obsidian for desktop, Obsidian Notes Beginner's Guide, and the other one is RemNote for desktop. Someday I'll learn how to actually speak and get it right the first time. So I'll come over here, and you might guess, click the filter, add a filter, add a filter. Remember, I want an AND condition because I want to say where tags contains editing, and I'm also going to want status is not completed. Now, notice You have to be careful here. You have to make sure you choose and not or, because if I click off here, right now it says or, and if I click off here, notice those are still there. And the reason why is when I go back into my filter, it's saying where either the tag contains editing or the status is not completed. So you want to make sure that's and. You change that to and, you close that out, and guess what? We have matchity matches. So pretty cool, right? So now it matches exactly what I had. And now I'm going to go back to my dashboard here. I'm going to go back to my dashboard here. I still have to mess around with this, so we'll have to play with that. So next, I'm going to come down here. I'm going to put a space, type of, and notice I have 2 more linked databases. And you say, well, how do I know they're not just regular tables? Linked databases have this little arrow right here that points to the upper right, and what that's saying is this view is actually getting its data from this database. So that's what the arrow says. It says this data is coming from here, and notice I'm using the same database here, and here it's pointing to the same central task list as the views on these 2 pages. So let's come down here and let's make first a heading. Let's call it today's tasks. Let's select it. Let's turn it to purple. Come down underneath. Let's type / linked. You should know that by now. We've been doing it the whole time. We'll come back in here. We will type in central. Central. To narrow it down. That will drop in, and as you might guess, I think what I have to do here is play with that's exactly what I have to do. I have to play with this. So the reason why this was off is because I didn't have my divider set properly. So I finally figured that out by accident. So that was bothering me still. So finally I got that done. And notice there, I have every task I can add in every category, every property. So the first thing I want to do, I want to create my filter, right? So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to create my filter. I'm going to create a filter group. And the first thing I want to filter for are things that are actually due. Now, I can come over here and just click this, but that's not really going to work because tomorrow it's still going to say the 25th. So right today is the 25th. And you might say, well, that might work. Well, it'll only work for today. And then tomorrow, it'll be off. So what you want to do is come in today. Due date is where it says exact date. You want to click down and just choose today, and that drops down to I have 5 items. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 items. This is good, but I also want to make sure that I don't choose things I want to create a filter, make it an and filter. And I want to look at my status, and I want to make sure it's not complete because I want this to update when I mark complete. So my status is not completed, right? So I could come there and I click off there, and now it looks closer to what I have. I still have the 5. It looks pretty good. The next thing I want to do is I want to come over here and I want to take my properties and I want to hide blog post status, comments, date completed. I don't need my tags. Or these 2. Let's close that out. Now notice it's not in the exact same order. So the way you could do that is you can literally just drag them. So if, in this case I have it in a random order. These are in a random order and the reason why is because my priorities and my statuses, I have them like these 4 are the same and it's low on the bottom, so those are sorted that way. But if I wanted to move these because they're all the same level in terms of priority, I can literally click and drag them. So let's say I wanted like record stream deck on top. I click this double vertical ellipses and I can click and drag it, put it up top. And so the next one, record Google Docs. I'm doing these out of order anyway. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just showing this to you so how you can do it. And then now it's right. So now it matches exactly. And notice that my columns are not in the same order as I have them over here. I have task priority, general category, and then status. I think that's status, yep. Which, I don't know if I'd like that, but in order to do it, I can just come over here. I want priority, so I can just click and pull that and pull it to here. And then I can pull general category over, put it behind priority, and then I can pull in not started. And I don't have to due date on here, and I don't need to due date on here because I know it's due today. Notice it is today, which is January 25th, the day I'm shooting this video. So I can come over, back over to ellipses, hit the properties, and I can hide the due date. And now it should match exactly. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yep, looks right. And if I wanted to look like it matches, I can actually pull this a little bit, and that just cuts off. So I think there's a way to wrap the text. Yep, wrap cells. There it is. Boom. I wrap cells. And what that'll do is, like, when I click this, notice it kind of pulls it in the way I had it, and I can pull this in the way I had it, and pull this in a little bit. Oh, no. Gotta be careful. Make sure you get the divider. Pull that in just a little bit. That's good. And that looks pretty much the same. Maybe I pulled it a little too much, but you get the idea. So now this one's done. And this has all my tasks that are due today that are not complete. So now I can come over here, type /heading, choose heading 1, and I'm actually going to pull this over because I think the problem I'm having here. And I'm going to type in next 7 days. I don't know why this is wrapping so hard. Oh, I know why. And I want to do full width. Ah, that's where I was messing it up. So if I come over here, I had it on full width, and I didn't have this on full width. So full width allows you to expand the option. I can't believe I forgot that. So now I can come back over here, and I can drag this to be more sort of in the middle. And I can pull this back, and this should shrink roughly the same. That's much better. I can hide this. So I can play around with this a little bit as well to line it up. I'll do that in a little bit. That's pretty good. And now I can double click here and come over here and go to have orange. And then come down here and make my linked database just like we did before. Create linked database. I will choose central again. And this may seem monotonous, but that just means you're learning it. So, you know, and a lot of times creating it, you know, it's fun to lay it out, but hard. But sometimes it can get a little monotonous in terms of how you actually do the plumbing to make it work. But that's what this video is for, to show you how to do it so that way. Hopefully you're kind of working along with me as you're watching the video. And if you have any questions, by the way, leave me comments. I do read all my comments, and I will get back to you. If you have a question, you know, if it's not looking the same for you, if you want me to make a template and share it for you, let me know. I will do that and create a template. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to create a filter. And I want a filter group where my due date is after today. And the reason why is because I don't want any of my today tasks to show up in my next 7-day task. Because I look at my next 7 days as, okay, I have my things I have to do right now, things I have to do today. But then I want to see beyond today, my next 7 days, which is really my next 6 days, beyond today, where I can kind of get a feel for the rest of the week. So the first thing I want to do is filter out everything that was today, which is what to add anywhere when my due date is after today. The next thing I want to do is add another filter, make it an AND filter, because I want it to be a compound filter. And next thing is to say due date is on or before. Actually, not on or before, is before 1 week from now. The last thing I want to do is add filter, and status is not completed. And as you can see, it has the same entries here, but notice the table looks slightly different. So the next thing I want to do is I want to play with my properties. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to take a look at what I have here. So I come over here and I can say, okay, I have priority, the due date, the status, the general category. I have actually black the status one as well. So actually, I'm going to take that out of this one because I don't need that. So status, I'll turn that off. Comments off. Date completed off. Due date, general category. I'll turn off tags. YouTube script, and close off here. It's getting closer. It's getting closer. But notice over here, I have priority first, general category second, which general category is here. Due date's not right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go priority. I'm going to drag that, and then I'm going to drag general category. Then I'm going to drag status, and then due date I think is the last one, right? If I come over here to the edge, actually due date, I'm sorry, I was looking at the wrong table. So I had priority. It's late here on the East Coast. So I have priority, general category, actually priority, due date, status, the general category. So priority first, then I'm going to come back. Due date, status, and then that should leave general category last. It does. General category. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to come over here again to wrap cells by clicking on the ellipses, dropping down, click wrap cells, and that's going to help me out. I'm going to come down here a little bit, and actually this looks pretty good. I'm going to pull this in a bit. I'm going to pull the date in a little bit. And actually I'll leave that the way it is. So it doesn't look exactly the same. I think I'm crunching this maybe a little too much. But it looks, I mean, it's the same from a functional standpoint. You can see it matches up actually exactly on both sides here in the views, so that looks pretty good. And that's how I created my dashboard. So it seems like a lot when you look at it, but when you break it down into the individual components, it's actually pretty straightforward to create once you get the hang of linked databases and using the widgets, which the widgets is really easy thanks to Indify. I always say it wrong. Indify.co. You go there, get in the widget like we did in the video, pretty easy. You paste it in and in the embed link, and you're good. And then you can just play around with this as much as you want. And again, if you want me to share this template that looks like this, I'll probably take out my information and generalize it. Just let me know. Hit me up in the comments and say, yeah, hey Jimmy, can you create a template for that? I'll normalize the data so it's generic, and then you guys can just kind of take it and mess around with it to your heart's content. But I hope this video was helpful for you. Again, if you have any comments, leave them in the comment section. I do check that pretty religiously. I'm in there quite a bit, grabbing, answering everybody's questions. If you check my other videos and check the comment sections, you'll see I'm in there answering questions. And if I don't know the answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know, but I'll do the research and see if I can find out an answer. If you like this video, hit that like button. Again, it helps me out a lot. Really helps the channel out, so I'd really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, don't click like if you didn't like it, but if you do like the video, please click like. If you want to see more of my videos, hit that subscribe button. I'm creating these videos. I'm really trying to ramp up my to get at least 2 a week out. So this is sort of my push. This dashboard is helping me a little bit, so hopefully I can keep it going. If I maybe later on, if you like this video and you want me to do an updated dashboard video later on, maybe a couple months from now, when I sort of change it, I'd be happy to do that. And lastly, if you want to be notified when I release new videos, please click the bell. Thanks.